Remade flagship gaming laptops. Now, somehow, at some point, have become as expensive as, well, firing a Newcastle United manager. This one here, or that one in the B-roll, because I've already sent it back to MSI, is the 17-inch GE76 Raider. And in this spec, well, let's just put it right out there, mate. It's $4,000. And that's mobile workstation territory right there. So I know I sound like a knackered record, but gaming laptops absolutely are an option for 3D CAD and pro workflows, depending on what you work on. And if you're like me, and well, like billions of other people, you like to shut up shop, close down at the end of the day, and you like to play some games, well, why not? Why not use the same PC or laptop for that instead of having two? Not everyone's going to have that option, but that's one way of making parting with $4,000 sting a bit less. And this one is right up there as a candidate. And due to having just been a lecturer / speaker at Autodesk University 2021 on this very subject matter, I've had the Precision 7760 in the office here, which is a very close spec and cost to the GE76 Raider. But it's all the Pro version, right? It's got the Pro CPU, it's got the Pro equivalent GPU, same quantity of RAM, same model of SSD, perfect for a bit of head-to-head action on CAD and RTX GPU tests. But of course, obviously this GE76 was never intended to go head-to-head in an arena like this, so I'm well aware of that. I'm going to do it anyway. For this kind of wedge, right, you know, $4,000, as you'd expect, it gets you the best of the best as things stand today. It gets you the Intel Core i9-11980HK, 64 gigs of DDR4, GeForce RTX 3080, 2 terabytes of Gen 4 NVMe boot drive, 360Hz panel. It's got about as much I/O as you can expect on a 17-inch laptop, which is good enough for all your external devices. The battery is a house brick of a 99.9 watt-hour unit, reaching 5388 in the PCMark 10 Modern Office battery test. The webcam is surprisingly exceptional for a gaming laptop with a mobile workstation beating 1080p 30 cam. It doesn't have much in the way of anything like software features to enhance it, but it's just inherently better by default. I can't say much for the mic or the speakers though. They're shit. Personally, all I really care about is, well, if I was to buy this, would I be happy with it? Could I use it for work? Would I want to buy it, right? And would I want to use it instead of a desktop, right? That's really all I care about. So that i9, mate, it really struggles in here. It does. The spec should see it singing around 5 gigahertz, but that happened once over an entire InvMark for Autodesk Inventor run. Once it hit 5 gigahertz on one core. Over a full run, the average frequency was about 4.1 to 4.3 gigahertz, with the median being around 4.5. And with those numbers, you might as well look to a laptop with the i7-11800H in, which caps out at around 4.6 gigahertz by spec. Basically, what that resulted in still extremely solid numbers, mate, on InvMark, 49404 for the Raider, but that i9 should easily be smashing through the 50k mark, and it's being pipped there by the lower spec and cheaper 11th gen mobile i7s. And that observation is only further confirmed when you look at the Xeon in the similar sized Precision. Same silicon, but that Xeon easily breaks through the 50k mark and tops the laptop charts at InvMark whilst pulling more power in the same sized chassis, whilst being quieter, more on that later. And that unfolds into a consistent theme across all the CPU testing. I've added in the flagship 10th gen mobile Xeon into the mix just for some context so you can see how close these numbers actually are. But Revit RFO, V-Ray CPU, Cinebench R23, PCMark 10. In some cases, it's quite a close fight. In others, the Xeon just leaves the i9 for dead. But yeah, look, none of this is suggesting that this GE76 is anywhere near as bad as, I don't know, like Joe Linton is for Newcastle. But it's more like the i9 just isn't able to achieve its potential in there. It feels like it's like there's just so much performance just left on the table out of reach. The GPU, though, on the other hand, is the tits. I've ran this all at stock frequencies with the supplied extreme profile enabled. Now you'll see slightly higher scores than other YouTuber videos because they tend to overclock them using the built-in sliders, but I'm running this all at stock frequencies out the box. But yeah, the V-Ray CUDA benchmark puts the 3080 ahead of the RTX A5000 in the Precision, likely due to the higher clock frequencies on the 3080. But when it comes to the RTX workloads on the GPU, the RTX A5000 and the 3080 are as good as on an even keel. But when you put them in context to what a not at all old desktop RTX 4000 from only one previous generation is kicking out, it is utterly astonishing the numbers that we're seeing here. And for the likes of TimeSpy and Port Royale, I was not expecting the RTX A5000 to be that close, because it sure as shit in a sugar puff isn't that close in actual gaming. All right, about gaming. I love gaming. I remember gaming. Look, as much as it would do my channel the world of good to cover games, I have to draw the line for now and stick to just pro stuff. So if you want to see game performance, there's plenty of people who will have done that already, but for performance at work, pretty much almost neck and neck with an outrageously expensive mobile workstation. So considering it's a given that this will be outstanding at games, whereas the mobile workstation will not because of game-ready drivers. But is the GE76 a candidate for a desktop replacement to use at work? Would I buy this as a desktop replacement to use at work? No. No, not quite, not for me. And this is venturing into uncharted territory for gaming laptops as well, because it's not actually because of how it looks for a change. Gaming laptops really do look the part now, because in the past there's been some absolute munters made. But the Raider with its classy Hugo Tucson won't get you funny looks from across the boardroom table, providing you manage to get the rotten software working that turns all the lighting off. And that's where I first started seeing cracks appearing in the armor of the GE76 Raider, was with the software. Now, don't get us wrong, I actually quite like the plasma style sort of lighting bar that goes along the bottom. It's basically the peacock feature of the exterior, it's like its sort of halo thing. But if you're using this for work, you will need to turn that off at times. But for reasons that are as confusing as Steam Bruce's team selections, that lighting bar is controlled by the keyboard app, which is SteelSeries, you might have heard of. You might have a solid opinion of them. What isn't an opinion is that software is fucking shit. The SteelSeries software is not working for the 5th time. So you go into Windows, go to the SteelSeries app, fire it up. Well, in fact, I'll click the actual word open. And there you are. Nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens. Now, sorry, if you paid $4,000 for a laptop and you have to uninstall and then manually find, download, and then manually reinstall the keyboard software every single time you want to just turn off the RGB lighting, mate, I'd be chasing and flinging this thing out of Newcastle faster than Mike Ashley. Is that enough Newcastle references? I think I've made me point now. All right, the chiclet keyboard though itself, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Like, I'm not doing a full section on keyboards, mate. I just don't care enough. But it's fine. The only thing I don't really care enough for is that critical strike font on the keyboard, which just dates the keyboard by like 8 years. I can't unsee it, but I get it, it's for gamers, right? So I can't really grumble too much. The display though, 360 hertz. Right, look, the details are probably for another video, but after seeing it for myself, I'd personally go for a higher res panel like the 4K 120 hertz or 1440p with 100% DCI-P3. Higher res, wider color gamut to me is just better than 360 hertz. And also the software bundled with the panel is a bit of a disaster as well. That ended up being just completely uninstalled and nuked to fix a completely unnecessary visual issue, which gave me even more concerns about the software behind this, which you just shouldn't be dealing with at this tier. But all of that, even like the shitty software, could be livable with at a push for me. The thing is, what isn't livable with is the racket that this thing puts out, even when there's nothing happening. It's doing nothing! It's doing nothing! It's just booting off! It's kicking, I can hear the fans. What is it doing? Like, why is it kicking off? I haven't touched it in like half an hour. And look, I get it. It's got some serious kit in there, and that's all designed for gaming. It's for a different market. I'm just having a hard time accepting that that was all necessary and the best that they could do, because that there, for the most part, wasn't even all that stressful of a load. The first part was where the solid sweep happened, but when the gold wheel appears, that's a single-threaded, fairly light load, which still sees the fans howling for the foreseeable. And as shown earlier, often it'll just go hysterical and there's like literally nothing happening. And look, we're in weird uncharted territory here, because that Precision 7760 has the same silicon, just branded as a Xeon. it's drawing more power, it's running at the same temps, but it manages to do it almost whisper quiet. And a few years ago, you'd never be able to have this conversation and draw these kinds of comparisons, because a mobile workstation would have been a completely different CPU, would have been twice as big, right? The laptop, 5 times the price of a gaming laptop, but it's the same size now, it's the same parts, pretty much. And crucially, these two things are the same price. So is it unfair to criticize that Raider for being as loud as it is? I don't know. What I do know is that I couldn't live or work with that rocket. You might not get funny looks for how it looks, but you're for sure going to get asked to leave a boardroom or mute your mic if those fans spin up mid-meeting. It does have a silent profile, but it still kicks out a fair bit of noise even on silent profile, because all it does is just limit the power delivery down to the point of basically just being the performance of a thinner light even when you do that. So yeah, look, I'm acutely aware that this isn't intended for the workplace, but a lot of people do want them for that. For me, it's too loud. If all that caterwauling was taking it to the top of the charts, you know, like the Inventor charts, for example, then maybe I'd feel like, fine, you know, it's worth it. If all the hullabaloo was a compromise, you got to accept to get to the top of the charts, but it's just not quite happening there. It's fastish and loud, and you know, that would just be, you know, ended up being a perpetual workplace nightmare that you'd have to endlessly micromanage for your entire ownership of this Raider. So yeah, there you go. That's, you know, from a certain gamer's point of view, I'm sure this ticks a lot of boxes, but for me, you know, doubling it up as a work, then a play machine, it's a no, unfortunately. It's certainly no slouch, near enough the top of the charts. Just there's too many annoyances to feel okay about that price tag. So yeah, that's all I've got for now. The Ryzen powered Alienware M15 is going to be landing here any day now, so get subscribed to see that. That's all I've got for this one. Thanks to MSI for sending this over. It's still a great unit. It's just not fit for the purpose I was trying to sort of wedge it in at. That's no real slur on the laptop. It's just, you know, some people do want them for that, and I'm just giving it my best shot. So there you go. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.